All right, Coach. First things first, off-season surgery for you. How are you feeling?
Great. Look at this.
Whoa.
2 shoulders.
Nice.
100% rehab. So
Okay.
when we make a three-pointer, I'll be ready to go.
Volleyball blocks and everything, huh? Yeah.
Not quite that.
Not quite that. So how's practice been going? Obviously, you guys are coming up on your first game in a couple nights. So ready to rock and roll here this year?
Every coach hopes for 3 things to start the year off with. Good health. And we actually have had 13 healthy players. Kuba just rolled a little bit of an ankle.
Yeah.
Carlis practiced a little bit and just had another shot for his knee. But 13 and a half of our 15-man roster is pretty darn healthy. And so that's number one. Number 2, you want coachable kids. Somebody's working on their game, and our coachability and chemistry has been excellent. And the kids that want to work with each other. You got to work with coaches. That's one direction. You got to work with each other. I've been tremendously pleased. This is one of the best preseasons we've had. Putting in some of our defensive principles. They've relies a lot upon communication. Can look great, and then like all things, it's just November. I got 2 months before conference play, but it's a very important 2 months, especially since we have such a monstrous road trip coming up. Yeah. With those 8 games after this home game, we will end up having 8 games. 9 days on the road,
right,
and 5 games in a consecutive order,
right,
on the road while we're Thanksgiving break. But we look forward to it.
Yeah, 7 games in November. Start off with kind of a wide range, Menlo at home, and then headed to McHale Center in Arizona. Yeah. What are your expectations in November? Like, I know talking about season-long expectations is kind of big right now, but if we could break it down just like this month, like what are your expectations for this month?
Well, I think 2 things we really want to see this month is Hank Hollingsworth as a center, be able to give us a little inside presence, a little bit of scoring, shot blocking, some good solid minutes, and Tuca coming in and giving him some backup minutes. And if we can establish a little bit of inside game, a little bit of inside presence from those, Hank's a junior now, Tuca's a freshman, I think that will really serve us well. Then the other day we had a scrimmage, and I think the seniors have got to play and act like seniors all year. Donovan, Kuba, Marcellus have had excellent preseason. Their maturity level, just taking little things, getting ready for the scouting report from Menlo, not looking forward to Arizona. It's like we have a game on Wednesday. That maturity trickles down and influences the other one. So I just want to make sure that seniors act like seniors, guys develop a little bit more, captains, Mark Crow, be a leader. Don't be a leader just when we win. Be a leader when we're down by 10 on the road. I think those are the big things that we got to say. Then, of course, everyone wants to shoot well and win games, but if we don't develop and keep improving through November, then December is real hard.
2 things you mentioned. One, Hank and his importance in terms of this team. Not a lot of really big 4s, in terms of depth in the front court there at the 5 position. How important is it for him to both be effective on both ends of the court, especially on defense, but also to be able to stay on the court as much as possible?
Yeah, I think he's going to have the ability to stay on the court. We have enough minutes that he understands what foolish fouls are, and he's going to have to learn to play with a couple fouls. And Tuca's done a great job backing him up right now. Really impressed with it. But I think for Hank, it's just going to be, he's got to realize that you're going to play tired sometimes. You got to play with a couple fouls sometimes. Got to finish with aggression, play with some confidence, and I think he's demonstrated to us this fall that he wants that. He's a serious kid about continually improving, and I'm proud of him. And then, like I said, the 4-man, if we can get Carlos back to have another body at the 4. Right now we're playing Mark Crow and Kuba at the 4, very slight at the 4-man spot. But at the same time, people got to come away from the hoop and guard. So we'll be 4 around 1, mostly defensive model, and 4 around 1 on the offensive model.
Yeah, and then your 3 seniors you mentioned have to play like seniors. Those are all 3 guys who are junior college transfers. Mm-hmm. They've all been here for a bit now. All guys who have been through something to get to where they're at here. What do you expect from that group in terms of being able to lead this team? And I feel like personality-wise, maybe there's a little bit more grit to those guys. In terms of
I think they're tremendously hungry because you mentioned they've had to scrap. Live in apartments in Texas and commute around the place and take classes and go to summer school and to get into Cal Poly and now to thrive here and now to be a senior and kind of learn the difference between a junior college lifestyle and Division I lifestyle. They have been tremendous, though. They've been tremendous on and off the floor. I think that their leadership qualities of, hey, they've invested a lot in their life. You know, between 21, 22 years old, and say this means a lot to them. It's really easy to coach when it means a lot to people around you. You know, I think that's one of the most enjoyable parts to me, is that it's serious. I mean, we have fun, but we take basketball really serious, and we take preparation really serious, and I love those kids for that.
Some new faces on the court, but also off the court on your staff.
Yeah.
Bringing on Dave Hansen and Jamal. Sorry. Bringing in Dave and Jamal. What does that mean for you to see a couple guys that you coached here now on your staff?
Well, it's so interesting is that with them here, they see things and they say things, and then they point out things very quick. You know, you can be 45 or 50 years old and not still have much experience on the staff with how do I deliver something. They have been tremendous because they're actually really experienced, because they've got 4 years underneath me already, and so they come out. They've seen it all. They've seen me in the locker room. They've seen me on road trips. They've seen me at practice, and they can help translate to the players that this, hey, coach is not going to tolerate this, and it's already paid dividends for us. I think that just them talking to guys about, you know, running the mile or conditioning drills, or, you know, a study hall, a road trip decor. I mean, I think that's really important. Of course, David Hansen really specializes in working with the post players. If you remember how David played, one of the best footwork guys away. I watched him follow him the last 5 years as he worked at Pittsburgh, and then as he worked back in New York at the prep school. I was consistently impressed with how well he developed players. And then Jamal Johnson, an assistant, he can be involved in all things from classes to weight room stuff, seeing everything in there. And so he just gives an insight for me that I think is really important. Hey, do we want to have food before this game or after this game? So it's been just tremendous energizing for me.
And those two guys, one word that I have thought about over the past, I don't know, even 12 months with this program is kind of savvy, and kind of maybe needing some savvy, and don't take that the wrong way, but like those two guys are two guys who really have, seems like, a lot of that.
I'll go one other word. I think the great example to them is David Hansen had the most games ever played in Cal Poly history, and was broken by Jamal Johnson. So number one in the most games played in Cal Poly history is Jamal Johnson, who broke it by going to the NCAA tournament.
Right.
So David had the record, and then when we qualified for the NCAA tournament in 2014, we beat Texas Southern. He tied it, and then by playing Wichita State, I believe that he has one more game played. You can't play in that many games without becoming savvy and gritty and tough, play through some injuries and illnesses and so forth. So two of the most consistent, toughest players in program history are on my staff right now, and that means everything to me, and I think it means a lot to the rest of the guys when they see them on film edits and other things in the past, and ask for advice and so forth. So it's been very refreshing.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
You bet.
Appreciate it.